You're not going to believe me. No one ever believes me. I'm here to try to help, okay? There's a complaint about you being here. I'd like to understand what's happening. And he tells me. So what you're telling me is this is your wife, and somehow there's been some weird conspiracy and they've taken her away from you. Is that about right? You bet. That's right. Well, what do you think Mark's reaction to me is going to be? He can be at least curious about me, isn't he? Because I'm not telling him. That's not what I heard. It's not what I heard. I heard that you're trespassing and you've been stalking this woman. So it creates a relationship where none exists. That's where we're going with this, is to quickly establish a relationship where the person cares a little bit about what I'm going to say to them. Because right now, they don't care, right? Especially if they're really, really psychotic. You got to reach into that psychosis. You got to understand their experience, let them know you understand their experience. Now you're standing next to them. Now they're looking you in the eye. So your problem is the alien transmitter in your brain, and you got to get it out, and they took all the knives away. I'm talking to a guy with a bloody incision on his head, right? We're trying to get him to surrender to go in an ambulance. Is that about right? Okay. You must be terrified. Now I can empathize because I've reflectively listened first. Yeah, I'm terrified. I need help. So you'd like me to help you. That's reflective listening. You'd like me to help you. That's right. So what can you do for me? Well, that was an easy one. We got him to the hospital. I said, well, we'll have the doctors examine you, and if it's a transmitter there, I'm sure they'll help to talk to you about taking it out. Now, I'm not lying and saying I think there's a transmitter there. I'm reflecting back, and I'm empathizing with the feelings around the delusions. And in terms of your being mentally ill, I don't know if you're mentally ill or not. I'd rather not go there. Okay, Maurice, what you were saying? I'd rather not go there. You just told me your mother's telling you you're mentally ill. It sounds like people are telling you you're mentally ill. I don't want to be one of those people. Let's focus on right now, what we have to do, what we agree on. If it's Mark, we got to get off this lawn. We got to get away from Maria. Right? Does that make sense? So we don't do it, though, because, well, here's the question. Why do we resist reflecting back many important things mentally ill people tell us? We fear we're going to make it worse. It is the delusion or their lack of insight. He didn't want to reflect back that I said I'm not sick. So the problem is you're not sick and you don't need medicine. Is that right? What's wrong with reflecting that back? Am I making this person sicker? Anyone? And if you think that I am, please speak up. Let's discuss this for a moment. Anyone think that makes things worse?
People might be afraid to give the delusion validity.
Afraid to give the delusion validity. And in fact, Mike earlier talked about that. Lieutenant Woody said, never validate hallucinations. I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, what you mean by that is never pretend, and tell me if I'm doing leap with them. Sorry.
Up to $10.
Okay, that's all right. I don't think do you have $10? I only have 5. Tell me if I'm wrong though, Mike, seriously. Did you mean don't pretend you also hear the voices?
Correct.
Okay. See, that I wouldn't call that validate, just a little wordsmithing on my part, sorry. But for me, validation would be, so let me understand what the voices are saying are that I'm part of the alien conspiracy. I'm going to take a step back because you look really scared. I'm part of the alien conspiracy that's been trying to turn you into an alien. Is that what the voices are saying to you right now? That's not validating it. Now, if I say, yeah, I hear those voices, but don't believe them, that's what you meant. So I agree with you completely. But I can validate your experience of the voices by reflecting it back. So when I've had a couple of officers, when they've done reflective listening with me, say, let me see if I understand you correctly. So you don't have a mental illness. And you know what? I don't think you do either. You don't look like it. And you don't need medicine. And what you want help with are these people in the building that are trying to kill you. I've had some questions about these people myself. I mean, really going over the line to join this person, good intentions. Well, that came back to haunt him. Because when he got him to the hospital and got him treated, he did see him again. And the guy said, no way, you lied to me last time. You don't believe me. So with LEAP, you're not pretending, to use Mike's term, you're not validating. You're not saying you believe these things, but you're joining the person. That's where we're going with this. We want to quickly develop a relationship. What does that mean? Let me break that down. I want this person's attention. I want them focused on me. I want them thinking about me as someone who can help them. And I want to do that quickly. Reflective listening is a very powerful tool. Anyone have an encounter, a call that they had where you think it'd be hard to do reflective listening? Can you think of one real quick in the back? Okay. Hold on one second. I need to ask you to use the microphone, please. If you don't mind, is that all right? Could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Keith Beebe, Stonington Police. We're right along I-95, one of the on-ramps, tractor trailer driver. Went through the woods. He was having a little bit of a psychosis episode. Broke into a house using a samurai sword, just whacked out the window. We arrive on scene. He's in the house. We don't really have time at that point to ask him what his problem is. He's in somebody's house where he doesn't belong.
Right.
Violent struggle to get him in custody the whole time. People are chasing me, trying to kill me, so on and so forth. But
Right. What did you do
I think that was one of the scenarios where you don't have that chance
Right.
to really start talking to the guy. He's resistant. He's in the person's house. House is occupied. That's just one of those where.
Well,
But afterwards, got him into the. Once we got him in custody, right to the hospital he went.
Uh-huh.
So.
What if, can we change the scenario slightly?
Sure.
I mean, obviously, if he's got a weapon and there's people there, there's no time for anything other than taking him down and taking him into custody. Unless, I was in a room, wow, it was the Wild West, I think. This guy pulled a gun out from under his mattress. The officers thought they had cleared the room. And he shows it to me as we're talking. And one officer's in the door, and he takes a step forward, and I put my hand up, and I just kept talking to the guy, and he handed it to me, thankfully. But we got lucky on that one. Really lucky. But let's imagine that you had a chance to talk, that he had the sword, but he was nowhere near you. He was out in the lawn, right? Could you talk to him then? Okay.
Probably looking back on it. I mean,
Okay.
we always look back at things that we do, but as they happen, like in this scenario here, we had no idea that we had a mentally ill person.
Sure.
We just know that we had a
got a
burglary
guy
in
with a
progress.
weapon.
We have a
Right.
window smashed in, and we got a guy with a samurai sword
Okay.
standing in the living room as the first officer came in, one-on-one. Then once we go to handcuff him, he starts fighting us.
Okay.
So
So,
and as we're fighting him, now we're realizing there's socks in his nose, and he's talking about the air's poisoned, and they're chasing him. You guys are now trying to kill
Okay.
me. What are you doing to me and all that. Then it's,
Okay.
taser, taser, taser.
right. Well, if you had a chance to talk to him, if the scene was secure enough, either he doesn't have the sword.
Reflecting back on, and this is a few years ago, and
Yeah.
I'm not a CIT officer. I'm just, here to listen and learn with
Okay.
what my officers are doing. But looking back now, I think there was that point where once we had him before we started to handcuff him, hey, what's your problem? But
Right.
again, we're in somebody else's home. That house is occupied, and there's a sword right there.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
he has immediate access to that sword.
No, you have to. I realize there's times you have to act, but if you have the opportunity to interact, or even once you have him, you have him cuffed and he's thrashing about and banging his head, that's the time to use these skills. Look at me. Talk to me. I want to help you. Talk to me. And try to get the person to listen. And then what would he say? Role play him for a second. What would he have said to me?
They're after me.
Who's after you? They're after
They're
you?
killing me. They're chasing me. I'm in this house because I'm trying to get away
So
from
you're here because your life is in
hiding
danger.
from them. They are right behind me. You got to save me. That's how he was going.
So you want me to save you because they're right behind you, they're right here.
Right.
No wonder you're here. You're terrified, right?
Right.
I'd be terrified too. Listening reflectively and empathizing, right? Did I say I agreed with any of it? No. Thank you. That was helpful. But what happens when the person asks you then, well, so do you believe me? I already said that in using these tools, you don't lie. What do you do? And we ran into this problem earlier, Monica and I, when I asked her to write the letter to the judge, right? You know, what do you do? I'm going to come to that in a second, but let's just finish with this slide on the resistance to reflective listening. We don't want to be asked to do something we can't, which is what we're going to talk about now. And we worry about escalating the person and injuring the rapport we're building, right? If I reflect back, so you're not sick, my worry is you're going to ask me, so you agree with me? So officer, you agree with me? Will you talk to my mom? I'm not sick? Now what do? Because when you do reflective listening, you will get these questions eventually. Sometimes, unfortunately, you'll get them quickly. But it's pretty rare, in my experience. What do? Well, you try and delay answering. That's kind of where I thought you were going when you're asking me to tell you more. And the reason you delay, and back to the question of what's the whole point of this, is you're trying to develop rapport with this person. You're trying to get this person to listen to you, to be in the same world with you. But to do that, you've got to enter their world a little bit. So when the person asks me, well, so you believe me? I'm not mentally ill? Okay, are you going to help me with these people that you know are trying to kill me? All right? I delay giving my opinion. And the way I do that is I first honor the question. That's the part in white. I will answer your question about whether I think you're mentally ill, Mark, whether these are delusions. I promise I'm going to answer. But if it's all right with you, now I'm asking him a question. I'm putting him in control. If it's all right with you, I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you ended up on the lawn here today, Maria's lawn. Would that be all right? Would that take 15 seconds? It's not a lot of time. To give him a sense of control that de-escalates, calms him down, and engages him, and gets him hopefully off the question, do I think he's married to this woman? Another example. I'll tell you what I think. I promise to answer the question. But I'd like to keep listening to your views on this because I'm learning some things I need to know. Okay? Can I tell you later what I think about whether or not you're mentally ill? About whether or not there's a transmitter in your brain? About whether or not the air is poisoned? Let's say that guy, you calm him down enough that he asked that question. So do you think the air is poisoned? Right? Try to delay answering. Another example. I'll tell you, honor the question, but I believe your opinion's a lot more important than mine. And I'd like to learn first. I'd like to learn more first. Would that be all right with you? Honor the question, derail them from it, and then ask permission to change the topic. And you will find that the overwhelming majority of the time, people will let you get off the topic. So it really helps to know the delaying tactic or the delaying tool in giving your opinion. It gets you out of those sticky corners that reflective listening and empathizing put you in. Reflective listening and empathizing with a psychotic person calms the person down and gets them in the world with you. Right now, they're in a world of their own. That's the whole purpose of this. When you give your opinion, you have to. I mean, you've got a job, right? You've got something to do. Let's say you want to transport the person to the hospital, and the person keeps asking you, I don't need to go to the hospital. I don't need these medicines. I use one or all three of the 3 A's, I call them, to remember them. I apologize for what I'm going to tell them. I acknowledge I could be wrong. I acknowledge my own fallibility, and I ask the person, let's agree to disagree on this. So, Mark, you've asked me, are you a police officer? Look, I'm sorry. What I'm about to say is going to disappoint you. It might even piss you off. And I could be wrong about whether you're a police officer, okay? I don't know everything. Right now, I know I need to get you out of here. And I got a place I can take you, and that's to a hospital. And I hope we can just agree to disagree about Maria right now. Do you see how giving your opinion in that way is real different than sort of cutting to the chase and saying, for non-CIT officers in the room, you might be tempted to say, look, court orders are right here, it's clear, this woman gave them to me, I see them, you are not supposed to be here. You're in violation of a court restraining order. It's very different. Sorry, I could be wrong. I don't know everything. If you can't say that, skip that one. Let's just agree to disagree about this for right now, because right now we got to get you off the lawn. We got to get you to a hospital. Any questions about this, or does this seem either helpful or not helpful or not feasible? I particularly like to hear from people who think the latter. It doesn't seem like it would help or that it's not feasible. Because that's where I learn. Anyone? I won't hand you the microphone. Go ahead.
I just have a question that you're laying the groundwork to show that you may not be able to agree with their point of view, but then do you go forth with the opposite by anything?
I am laying the groundwork for the fact that we disagree, and I do tell them what I think, but I do it in a measured way. And I do it only for a purpose. It's strategic. What benefit is there in me telling Mark I think he's mentally ill? Any? I don't see any benefit. So I'm not going to give him that opinion unless he corners me. Now, then there would be a benefit. I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what you think. Mark, I'm really sorry. I mean, I could be totally wrong about this. I don't want to argue with you, okay? I respect your point of view about this. It looks to me like you might have a mental illness. I could be wrong. But right now, because it looks that way, I got to take you somewhere. I mean, it'd unfold like that. I mean, you got to give your opinion. But you see, it doesn't take a lot longer to do it that way. And I'm showing him a great deal of respect. And at least in the verbal communication, some control. If he's asked me for my opinion and I've delayed giving it a few times, he's asked more than once, he's got no one to blame for hearing my view on his mental illness but himself at this point. It sounds a little harsh to put it that way, but when you ask somebody for an opinion, you're more likely to follow it. There's a lot of research on that. Commonplace example. How many women in the room have given birth? Raise your hand, please. How many got free advice from complete strangers on the street? Okay. Did it ever feel, you're laughing, and I do this, I was just in Spain. I just did this a week and a half ago in Spain. And I get the laughter, even with the delayed translator. And it's amazing how common people are. And did it ever feel intrusive, the free advice on the street? Yeah, I'm seeing heads shaking, especially when the person puts their hand on your belly. Did you rush home and follow the advice? No. And yet each of you likely had a trusted friend or relative whose advice you sought, right? Why? What's the difference? And you maybe followed some of that advice about the pregnancy. The difference is you had a relationship, A. The other thing is, B, you asked for advice. You asked for help. And that's what you're trying to create by delaying answering, right? By reflectively listening and empathizing with the person. So I've already talked about what we empathize with, right? Particularly if the person's delusional, you want to empathize with the feelings around the delusion. So you're the Son of God. Is that right? Did I understand you? And that's why you're standing here in the middle of the street. Well, you must, how do you feel? I feel glorious. I feel wonderful. Well, I would feel that way too if I were the Son of God. What's wrong with that? That's strategic empathy. I'm empathizing with his delusions. Now, you told me you're not sick. Is that right? Yes. So it must be frustrating for you they called the police, huh? You bet it is. They don't understand, but I will forgive them, for they know not what they do. You don't want to be in treatment. You don't want to go with us in the ambulance, do you? Nope. God need not an ambulance. Thy soul shall be saved if thee leaveth me immediately. I love remembering patients. Well, this is a call. But am I making things worse if I say, boy, if I were you, I wouldn't want to go either? And what am I doing when I do that? It's a form of empathy. What I'm doing is I'm normalizing the experience. I wouldn't want to go either if I were you. If I were the Son of God, I wouldn't want to go either. But listen, I'm sorry, and I could be wrong about this. And I just don't want to argue with you. It's another way of saying agree to disagree. I don't want to argue with you. But I'm going to have to take you right now. And I don't want to get into a whole discussion about whether you really are the Son of God or not. Right now, we've got traffic that can't come through this intersection. And I might try to engage the person. Now, these people, see all these people honking their horns? They're looking to go places. What if there's somebody there who's rushing to the hospital? Sometimes that leads you down blind alleys because I'm God and I know there's not. But you explore. You try different things. But you're looking for where you agree, and that's on the problems that you both perceive. So in that example, we looked for, and he was pretty far gone. My memory serves me. I don't think we found much we agreed on, other than the officers had. I think I said to him at one point, "Look, the officers have the power to take you, and they can take you by force, or you can go quietly." I mean, you understand that, don't you? And he said, "Yes." I said, "What would you like to do?" And then I think I also said, Jesus, because he was saying he was Jesus, Son of God. Jesus surrendered himself to the authorities. And look how that worked out. Oh, it depends on your point of view. I don't think he said that to me, because I remember him going to the ambulance, but maybe I'm wrong. Review the advantages and disadvantages of compliance. I mean, we've already talked about that. You can go with me now quietly, or, reflect back what this person perceives the benefits to be. But this is engagement. You got to talk to the person and find out if they're even processing what you're saying to them. That's why the open hand, approach. Tell me what's going on. Tell me, I'd like to know what's going on. Maybe I can help you. I'd like to know what's going on. Can you just tell me? That's the first step to engagement. So you're the Son of God, and you need to be in this intersection for these reasons. Is that right? I understand that correctly? Yeah. And you feel ecstasy about this. I would too. But listen, we've got a problem. The traffic is stopped. You can see the traffic is stopped, can't you? Yes. We both see that. We agree on that. Well, I got to get you out of here. That's my job, and that's these police officers' job. You see how it kind of progresses? And it's quick. But you got to join the person where they're at first, and look for the temperature going down, and the level of agitation, and ultimately what you're partnering on, obviously, the P and LEAP, are those things that you've agreed on. So in Mark's case, it would be you can't stay on the lawn, whether it's look, Mark, whether these have been forged, these restraining orders, or not, I don't know. Okay? I mean, they look real to me, and I'm sorry. I could be wrong. 3As, I'm sorry, I could be wrong. We don't have to argue about this right now. The fact is, they're here, and I've got to respond to them. I've got to get you off the lawn. You do understand that, don't you? That's my job. He's likely to say yes. I mean, you told me you're a police officer, right? Okay. What does a police officer have to do when he's looking at what looks like a real restraining order? I might engage him that way. So help me out here, and let's go to the ambulance. Let's talk about this at the hospital. Okay. I'm going to stop there, and that leaves a few minutes for questions or comments, or please don't be shy. Any challenges of how you think this wouldn't work for you and your job? Any comments anyone wants to share? Yes?
How about a suggestion if you get one of those blind alleys and something's right there, things are going down the shitter quickly.
You get into a blind alley and things are going down the shitter quickly. Can you be more? Give me a context. Give me an example, if you can.
Say there's 3 cops in the room. And
There's 3 cops in the room.
one mentally ill suspect.
One mentally ill
We're
person.
I'm talking to that person. We're doing okay. All of a sudden, we're not doing okay. I make a mistake, say the wrong thing, hit something that really touches a nerve, or any of those things, and it starts to escalate about swapping, anything about swapping off, or things like that.
Okay, so let's play that out real quick. You be that mentally ill person. And you just told
Are you
me,
a mentally ill person?
yeah, you mind?
Calling me mentally ill? Is that what you're doing? Because it really, I'm not mentally ill, okay?
You're not mentally ill.
I've been through this before with plenty of doctors,
All right.
okay?
So you've been through this before with plenty of doctors. And you're not mentally ill.
Shit today, okay, Kyle?
Hold on. Somebody give her a mic, quick. I need her. Pass it.
I don't want a microphone. I don't want the microphone, okay? I don't need it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I can speak loud and lady, okay? And I think you can hear me, right?
I can't hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
I'm
Okay,
sorry
do
about
you hear
that.
what I'm saying, though, really?
I can hear what you're saying.
Okay. Do not call me mentally ill.
Okay.
Wacko, crazy, whatever you want to say. I'm none of those things.
You don't want to be called mentally ill or wacko or crazy and...
Ever again.
Okay.
My mother called me from the day I was born.
From the day you were born, your
Yeah.
mother called you.
And you know what happened to her, don't you?
What happened to your mother? What happened to your mother?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. No worries.
I had nothing to do with it, let's just say that. But she got what she deserved.
She did? Well, listen, if it were me, if people were telling me I was mentally ill for my whole life, I'd be pretty pissed off. Are you pissed off about it?
Yeah, I am.
You can see, are you pissed off at me for even doing
Yeah,
that?
because you brought it up.
I don't blame you. I would be too. I would be too. But what are we going to do?
What's the point of this? Why did you call me mentally ill?
Well, that was a
Why'd you
mistake
fire
on
me
my.
up like this?
That was a mistake on my part, and
Yeah, right.
and I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. That's one of the stepping out. That's one of the tools we teach, by the way. How to apologize, what for, and can you even do it? And is it appropriate? I'm apologizing for that, ma'am. I'm sorry. I called you mentally ill.
I'm all right. I forgive you, and I forgive myself.
Okay. So can we talk about what we have to do next?
Okay. I don't know if there's anything to do.
Do you know why I'm here?
Go.
Do you know why I'm here?
I have no idea why you're
Okay.
here.
So what happened is your neighbors called.
My neighbors?
Yeah. Do you know what time it is?
Smiths?
The Smiths called.
They're assholes, okay? They don't know what they're doing.
So they're
Ask
assholes.
them about all the stuff they do.
They do.
I never called them.
They do a lot of bad stuff to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This must be frustrating. They called again. Here I am again. Right.
Absolutely.
So,
So why are you here?
well, I'm here because you've been blasting your stereo really loud. I mean, we heard it block down the road. I had
Joan
it
Jett.
down. She rocks. I know. She rocks. I agree.
Just having
But do you understand that you can't do that at this time of the night?
What time is it?
It's 3:30 in the morning.
I just got in and
Okay, let me stop there. I mean, we're starting to talk. Is that helping you with your question? We're
I
starting.
lost it. I just
Well, the scenario you had was it's going down the shitter, as you put it, and the person is I've made a misstep. And let's say if I'm using this, and I do this sometime, I might say something like, I might slip and say, so you feel the Smiths are out to get you? Whoops, I hate it when I slip. Still make those mistakes. And the person says, so you think I'm mentally ill then? You think I'm making this shit up? And I quickly apologize. You know, I'm sorry. You know what? That came out wrong. What you're telling me is,
back to the 3A's, the apology.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Does that help?
Not to think about my mother, no?
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. No? West Haven says no. They told me to go to 3. I'm just trying to go to close to 3. All right, well, listen, thank you for participating. It's tough in a big group. So, Mark, call Maria. Go have a good time. Go back to work. And thank you for helping me and for everybody else. Thanks.